I used to think the dark web was just internet hype, nothing more than scare stories or clickbait. My security plan? Use a VPN and avoid strange links. That was as deep as I ever went until a coworker mentioned a secret forum somewhere off the grid. He called it Reddit for ghosts. No profiles, no avatars, just pure anonymous text. When I asked for the link, he hesitated and said, "Trust me, you don't want to see it." That warning only fueled my curiosity. That night, when silence filled the building, I gave in and dove into the unknown. I followed online guides, installed encrypted tools, and opened a stripped-down browser into the internet's forgotten underworld, the dark web. What I found mostly felt like a grim movie set: broken links, scams, desperate forums. It was raw, gritty, eerie, but ultimately seemed staged. Then, in a directory of text-based sites, something caught my eye: a simple, unadorned link labeled Future Confessions. The site was stark, a black background, white monospaced text scrolling upward in real time. At the top, a prompt invited visitors to post your future confession, something you will do that nobody will believe until it happens. Lines floated by, promises of quitting jobs, revealing secrets, faking deaths. It seemed like reckless fantasy, until one message froze my blood. I will enter apartment 3B at 10:17 p.m. on November 19th. I won't knock. The door will already be unlocked. No username, no other details. Just that. Two facts hit me at once. Tomorrow was November 19th, and I lived in apartment 3B. I told myself it was coincidence, a random stranger's numbers typed out by chance. But as the words hovered in my mind, my heart raced. The lines scrolled by, but that confession stayed etched in my thoughts. I closed the browser, deleted the dark web tools, but still, that night, I checked my locks 3 times before I dared sleep. The next day crawled by. At work, I kept stealing glances at the clock, then at the date in the corner of my screen, November 19th. When I finally arrived home, I checked every lock again. Solid. The chain, the deadbolt, everything secure. I tried to distract myself with dinner and TV, but my mind raced, waiting. As 9:45 p.m. approached, I set an alarm for 10:16, telling myself if nothing happened by 10:20, I'd stop fearing this was real. When the alarm rang, my heart pounded in my chest. I turned off the TV and slowly moved to the door. The deadbolt was locked tight, the handle secure, with the chain slid into place. I watched the dim hallway through the peephole as seconds ticked by. Then, at exactly 10:17, silence broke. The sound of the deadbolt turning, a slow, deliberate click from the inside, followed by the chain snapping with a sharp clang. The door creaked open an inch and stopped. A shadow lingered in the dark hallway. There was no knocking, no words, only quiet breathing, slow, steady, and a frustrated sigh, as if someone's plan had just failed. Whoever it was expected the door to be unlocked. My phone sat behind me, but my legs refused to move. For what felt like an eternity, I stared through the small opening. Certain eyes were just beyond the darkness. Then, slowly, the door eased shut, the latch barely clicking, and when I checked the peephole, the hallway was empty once more. The next day, I dragged my coworker into a conference room and made him open the dark web tools again. We loaded future confessions. Lines of text kept streaming, but the post about apartment 3B was gone, completely vanished. Then, a new message appeared above all others with no timestamp. "I'll try again when you forget to lock it." We sat in silence before he shut the laptop and said, "Change your locks and move." I did exactly that 2 weeks later. My new place has no number on the door. I installed multiple locks myself, far more than anyone would need for a one-bedroom. Though many say the dark web is just hype and the real dangers are scams or viruses, I remain cautious. Every night, before bed, I check the locks twice. And on those silent nights, when everything feels too quiet, I still stand at the peephole, listening and wondering if someone waits for the one night I forget.